When I read that, I was like, oh my god, like I almost threw my book because man, literally, I hate that in books. Oh, Alexa, pause. Hello everyone. My house is a mess, so I'm sorry. I just really wanted to get into filming this vlog, so I did not clean up before I started recording, but that's okay. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. Welcome to another cozy reading vlog. I am in this little sweat set that I got from Target, and I think it is just the cutest thing ever, and it's so cozy, and it's one of my favorite colors, a little light blue. It's so springtimey and I'm obsessed with it. It is a little bit later on in the day, actually. It is 7:20 at night. I have been really wanting to start filming a reading vlog, but do you ever feel like you need like the perfect time to start reading? Like if it's not the perfect time to read, then like you put it off. Is that me? That might just be a me problem, but that is how I've been feeling the past few days, and I'm like, I really want to start reading like a long time of reading, but I just feel like I need like the perfect time to start reading. Like I want to sit down and read for a long time, and that just has not come up yet. I decided to turn on the camera and start filming because there is no perfect time. So we are actually going to be doing a 24-hour reading vlog today. It has been so long since I have filmed one of these. I think the last time I filmed it was like last summer. I feel like it was almost a year ago. I feel like I've just been kind of slacking a little bit on the reading front lately. Whenever that happens, I try and do a reading vlog to motivate myself to really get reading again, read some books on my TBR. It is the end of April at this point, and we have not read many books on my TBR, and I said I really wanted to be good about reading a lot of books on my TBR, and we have not done that. I hope that this video is gonna give me motivation to do that. We're in our cozy pajamas, don't have any makeup on. It is fully cozy vibes. The book that we are going to start with is actually gonna be Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is a book that was on my TBR. I am on page 83, chapter 12. I have been really liking this one. I've heard so much about Abby Jimenez. Her new book came out just for the summer, and I recently picked that up at Target, and it just is such summer vibes. But I have been waiting to read Yours Truly. This is my first Abby Jimenez book, and I feel like I need to finally read Yours Truly before I get into Just for the Summer. I can just skip Yours Truly when it's been on my TBR for way longer. So I finally started it. I love Jacob and Brianna. They are right now just like sending letters back and forth. It is early days in the book. Oh my god, can you tell I've been watching Love Island too? Early days. I have been really liking this book. Simba is over here. He is like the cuddliest cat you will ever meet. Simba, right there. So we're gonna go sit next to Simba and get our 24 hours going. The anxiety representation in this is already so amazing. Like I have all these tabs, and a lot of them are just him explaining his anxiety and what he does to help him, and I've tabbed them for my own benefit to help my anxiety. And you know what? That's okay. I told you, cuddliest cat you will ever meet is this one right here. Hello everyone, welcome to the next day. Good morning, actually afternoon. And I am heading out to go do some yoga with my cousin. And it's a new class, it's a new studio. It seems like it's gonna be really, really fun. I wanted to pop on here and give you a little update. I did read maybe like a little bit under, my washing machine is going, sorry. A little bit under an hour yesterday. So we still have like 23 hours left. The reason being, I was so into this book, I was so prepared to just read all night. I got to page 118 literally in the middle of the chapter, and I never stop in the middle of a chapter. But my boyfriend called me. I was like, there are 2 kittens outside because we have a stray cat in our area and we sometimes leave out food for them. We see her around just like our complex. He was like, you have to come out here. The mama cat had babies and there was 2 little baby kittens. So I quickly closed my book and spent the rest of last night just like literally we were outside like trying to hide and not like disrupt them because she was trying to move her kittens. One kept following her and one was not gonna follow her for some reason, so we left. But then when I just checked this morning, little baby was gone, so the mama cat finally got him to move the nest. Long story short, that is why I did not read that much yesterday, because there was 2 baby cats. And how can you read if there's 2 baby cats right outside your door? Like, come on. But I am late. I'm gonna go run to yoga class, and I want to pop on here and say that I will be doing audiobooks because I am listening to the audiobook currently of a physical book I have, which is The Fury. And I do take off the dust jackets because they just irritate me when I read it. But I am on Act 2 of The Fury. I have been mainly listening to this in audiobook form just because the way this book is written, it's by Alex Michaelides, is he's telling you a story at a bar. So it's very much like conversational and like, oh, before I tell you this part, let me go back and tell you this part that happened to give you context, you know? Like, it just feels like someone's talking to you, and I love that. So I mainly listen to the audiobook, but I wanted to pop on and say that I will be listening to audiobooks in this 24-hour reading vlog, and then we're gonna read more of Yours Truly tonight. It is so cute. I am really, really, really loving Yours Truly. I'm loving Abby Jimenez's writing. This is my first Abby Jimenez book, as I've said, and I get the hype. I am loving her writing. Those are 2 books we're reading. I gotta go. I'll see you in a little bit.
Isn't that surprising? Lana and Kate were closer than ever.
Long time no check-in. I keep on looking out our window because it is so beautiful and sunny and warm outside. We are currently at 16 hours, 16 minutes left. So we have read about 8 hours for these few days. I finished The Fury. Something about a thriller audiobook just will always do it for me. This has a few good little life quotes in here, as you can see by my little tabbed pieces, or just like good like life lessons. I think I'm gonna land on a 4-star thriller, which is a good rating for a thriller. So Alex Michaelides also wrote this on Impatience, which I did read, but I did not like as much as everyone else did. I don't know, something about that trope of what's revealed in the end that I like don't love. This one, so good. I really like the conversational tone that Alex Michaelides used in this book, which is also why I really like the audiobook, because the audiobook is like he's just talking to you. I'm gonna tell you something I've never told anyone. You make me thinking so-and-so now. Well, let me tell you this. Like, you're sitting at a bar with him and he's telling you the story, and the main character and also the narrator is Elliot. And there's also a little mention of the main character from The Silent Patient at the end of this, which I think is so cool how Alex Michaelides ties them together. I really like the twists and turns of acts like 3 to 5, and I like the common thread of comparing the story and characters to a playwright and a play's characters. So basically, the guy who is narrating this is a playwright, and he sort of tells the last few acts. It's all in acts, like there's 5 acts like a play, and he tells it like a play where he compares all the characters in the book to the characters in his play. I feel like that's just a really interesting tidbit of it. So basically, it is about this basically like a and then there were none type thing, where there are a bunch of people on an island. They all have some sort of secrets with one another. They all have motive, and there's a murder. And then we've been reading Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. We are on chapter 32, page 263. I can't believe it's taken me this long to read this book. I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. Like, look at all of these quotes here. Can you see? I'm already on my third color of tab. I love Jacob. Bree is such a fun and relatable main character. I don't know why it took me this long to read this book. I understand the hype completely now. It is about two doctors, Brianna and Jacob. I don't want to give too many tropes because it'll like spoil it, but they start out as like kind of being like really enemies, but just they don't like vibe with each other. Jacob has really bad social anxiety and Brianna doesn't know this, so she just thinks that he's rude to start out with, but then she figures out that he has social anxiety, and just the way that she makes him feel comfortable and safe knowing about his social anxiety. Even little things that I think are so important that she does for him, even when she's like mad at him. He's going to a new place, and because she knows that he has social anxiety, she sends him like a full rundown. Like, here's a picture where you're gonna park. It's usually right here. This is what your room is gonna look like. You're gonna have this, this, and that. You might wanna bring this. These people are this, that, and that. Just like everything she can to make him feel more comfortable, and it is so sweet. And then Jacob is such a cute boyfriend. He's just adorable. Like, the way that she says that he looks at her sometimes is like a puppy dog, like an innocent, big-eyed puppy dog. Like, that's the look he gives her. And yes, I get that, like, that is the vibes he gives off, golden retriever puppy dog vibes, and he is just so cute. This man literally, not even like fully dating, and this man was like, I'm gonna change my passcode so that it matches your phone passcode so you'll never forget it, just in case you have to like check a text for me, or like, you know, have to go into maps while we're driving. Like, so cute. And Brianna and him and Jacob also have like bad past marriages. They're dealing with that throughout this, and they're basically helping each other through their own little situations that they dealt with from the fallout of their marriage or anything like that. Brianna, again, so relatable. Like, her inner monologue and things that she says is like, girl, I get it, yes. But also Jacob's inner monologue about like the anxiety. Like, a lot of these quotes are just talking about anxiety. And as someone who struggles with anxiety, the representation is amazing. So yeah, let's go read some more now.
Who's to know what happens when the world ends? At least this is an okay bar for running into you. It's an awful.
Here's the biggest culprit of the hair in this little reading area. This is her spot, and she's like, why are you in my spot, Mom?
On a plan right now to come through. I've waited for a lifetime for you to
She did not.
Oh, nothing feels the same without you now. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm down, 'cause nothing feels the same without you. What's the point in dreaming if I lose my voice the second I get caught by you?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to our little reading area. So I wanted to give you a little update on our 24-hour reading challenge. It's still going. This timer has been on my phone for like a week. We have 10 hours and 58 minutes to go. So we have made it past the halfway point. I did finish Yours Truly. I'm not sure if I talked about this as much. I loved it so much. I'm gonna save my ratings till the end so I can like sit on them for a little bit. So it's a fake dating trope. We know what happens with fake dating. And when that came about, it was a little bit irritating because the way that they dealt with it, where it's like, you're both adults, just talk, but there was just so much miscommunication, and it got a little frustrating at some points because it just dragged on for a while, like the misunderstanding, I guess I can say. That was the only part about this I didn't love, because I was just like, come on, talk about it already. I did love Brianna and I did love Jacob. I loved their letters to each other and I loved their relationship. It was so cute. Started up Bride, and we are on page 138, which is chapter 10. I think I said this in like my May TBR, but this was the one that I was the most concerned about reading, just because it's just like the Omegaverse I'm new to, or the paranormal universe, I guess, and I just know some of like the anatomical things that are gonna be in this romance is just things that I'm not really looking forward to. As far as the storyline goes, I really like it so far. I mean, I only read Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood, so she always makes kind of like quirkier main characters, and the main character, the vampire bride in this, Misery, that's actually her name, and then she is like in an arranged marriage type thing with the alpha of the werewolf pack, Lo Moreland. Interspecies enemies to lovers type thing, and they are still firmly in the enemies territory. Misery has to go and live with the werewolves as part of this whole like collateral thing that the werewolves and the vampires do to like keep the peace. So she has to go live with the werewolves, and among the werewolves there's a little kid that is so adorable in this. Reading how this little kid explains to Misery some of like the werewolf stuff is really funny to me, and I love it. Lo is appearing to be a very fair alpha and doesn't like hate Misery like he would hate like the other werewolves, just hate her because she's a vampire. Actually, I knew from like the first chapter that this like secret that Lo had, I like knew what it was. Like literally, like just the way that he's acting, like you can tell it's a type of situation. And the fact that Misery has not caught on to that yet, if you know, you know, like why Lo is scrunching his nose around Misery and like not wanting to be around her. It's just like, I know what's gonna happen. I already know what that means. Misery doesn't, and that's a little frustrating because I'm like, come on girl, you can't be that dim. It's an Ali Hazelwood book, so I do like her writing, and it's pretty fast moving. And I am like enjoying my time reading it now, just getting into the world. It's different. And then I also picked up Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which was also on our May TBR. We're really getting our May TBR in this video. I'm only on chapter 2, page 27. This is a young adult book, so the words are like pretty big on the page. I think it's gonna be a very relatively fast read. Alina and her best friend Mal, they grew up together, they were orphans, and now it's like in this whole world they have to cross this thing called the Unsea, which is basically this path of like darkness between the two parts of the continent. Like right here, the little map shows us, like, so right now they're over here and they have to cross this to get to here. That's like the part that I'm at right now, and you know, they have been bad stories about it because there's creatures there that come after you and no one really knows what's in the darkness. Not much has happened, like I said. Wow, that bird's loud. It seems like a very interesting world to get into, so I'm definitely excited to keep reading this. Hopefully, by the end of this reading vlog, we will have finished these two completely.
That I'm afraid, but we can make it go away. I hope you hear the things I say when I'm choked up next to you. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm down. Oh, nothing feels the same without you now. I've waited for a lifetime for you to calm down. 'Cause nothing feels the same without you now. And all my friends are wasting time, and I'm afraid I'm wasting mine. But if you talk to me again, it'd be worth it.
I just finished Bride. My timer has a minute less than 6 hours left on it. I don't know how to deal with what I read in the last few chapters of this book. Let me put this down. I am fully in my pajamas, by the way, so you'll have to excuse the jump scare a little bit. If you've read this, the last like 3 chapters, maybe even like 1 chapter before that, I was correct in saying that there was gonna be a part in here that was gonna scar me, because what I was reading about logistics of there being a relationship between a were and a vampire. I never need to have that image in my mind, like, ever. I didn't like zip through this book, but I did enjoy my time reading it. It's a very interesting concept, and she is like doing like sort of minimal world building. I don't know what that's called, but it's like they're in like the world, the normal like world. Human territories, were territories, and vampire territories, and there's like the only things that she really makes up, of course, is the were and the vampire stuff. So I feel like the little bit of world building she did make sense, and I like understood it. Well, it didn't take long to understand. It was good. There was one part about it where, I think I said it in a previous clip, where like I knew big thing that was going to be revealed about the truth of their relationship. If you read this book, you know what I mean. And I knew this from like the first chapter, and she didn't figure it out until like this far in the book. And I was like, come on, girl. Like, it's very obvious. The way they were talking around it, it's just like, it was irritating because I'm like, I don't know. I was just like, Allie, girl, we all know what this is gonna be. Why are you waiting for this big reveal type thing? Just say it. But I did like Misery and Bo as characters. So the whole reason that she goes into Were territory and agrees to this arranged marriage is because she's looking for her human friend Serena. That is like the mystery throughout the book. And when we figure out actually what happened to Serena, then I didn't expect it at all. And I think that it made the story a lot better. There's going to be at least one more book in this, because the way they left it at the end was definitely open for like another book. That is Bride. We are going to go ahead and add that to the 24-hour stack. Everyone, welcome to a new day. I wanted to update you. I'm actually surprised that I still have time left, because I feel like I actually got through a lot of books. 1 hour and 11 minutes left on our 24-hour timer. I just finished Shadow and Bone. It is part of a trilogy, the Grishaverse trilogy. It is also a Netflix series. I'm not sure if I updated you at all while I was reading this, but that's because it went by so quickly. It like hooked me right away. From the first couple chapters, I was hooked. I kind of knew what the story was just because I had watched the first episode. It's just very easy writing. It's very like YA dystopian. This book was originally published back in 2012, which is right in that YA Hunger Games, City of Bones, Delirium era of all the YA dystopian novels. It reads like that. It's very easy to get through. It's very easy to understand. There's a character in here called the Darkling, and there was a part of me that was always like questioning him, and I feel like we are going to get more of his character and more of his story in the next book. He basically is like a shadow person. So this story follows Alina. Grisha are people with powers and are royalty because they have powers, and Alina, something is discovered about her. This is like not really a spoiler because it is in the first couple of chapters. Suddenly it makes her irreplaceable to the Darkling. This world is being plagued by something called the Shadow Fold, which I think I showed you before, but it's like this little thing right here that's splitting the world in half. This thing that's discovered about Alina is supposed to like help with that. She becomes Grisha suddenly, and she's taken to the palace, and you know, things develop from there. Really like the story. I did not like one thing that happened. I honestly was like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. If you know, I'm not gonna say it because it's a spoiler. It's giving end of season 1 of the Avatar, like the anime, and now the live action, and also a bit of the Chronicles of Narnia. The one part that I'm thinking of for both those is the part that I really, really thoroughly hated, and I hate that in books and I hate that in movies. This book did have that. When I read that, I was like, oh my god, like I almost threw my book because I was like, they can't, no. I think that's more of a me problem because I will straight up avoid any books, movies, or TV shows that have this thing in them. The end of chapter 19. I hated that! Oh my god, that is like really, I really wish they don't have to do that, because it just really like ruins it a little bit for me. I still am gonna probably give this like a 3.75, but it would have been like a 4.25, 4.5 even if that part didn't happen. Like, I understand why it had to happen, but it was just like, why? Why? I hate that. For our last hour, I just looked at my TBR and even just like all of my shelves, and there's no like novella that I have to read. We are going to go ahead and start Powerless by Elsie Silver. It is a 500-page book. I know that I am not going to finish this in an hour and 11 minutes or whatever else we have left. I'm just going to start it and then I will finish it in my next video coming up. It is a cowboy romance. It is about Jasper and Sloane. Jasper is another one of, look back in my, I think in my TBR video I had go into depth more about what this book is about, but it's romance. I love Elsie Silver's writing. I gave the other two books a 5 stars, so I'm really hoping this is gonna be a 5 stars. So we're gonna go ahead and start Powerless. Small town friends to lovers romance. There you go, says it right there. I'm gonna give a full wrap up of all the books we read in this 24-hour vlog tomorrow because I'm really tired. Hi everyone! I was just editing this video and I realized I never wrapped it up. I am proud of how many books I read, so I figured I'd come on here and wrap it up. For our 24 hours, we did finish it. We did it over a week or two. Like, it was a long time to actually get time to read for 24 hours, but we finished 4 books and we started a 5th book. That is the most books that I think I've read in one of these videos, like a challenge video, and I'm really proud of it. First, I finished The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I'm just gonna briefly go over them again just to wrap this up because I talked about them in depth throughout the video. I think I ended up giving this one a 4 stars. It is a thriller. I listened to it mainly on audiobook. If you do read this, I recommend the audiobook. It is on Spotify for free if you have premium. The narrator is just kind of talking to you like you're at a bar with him, telling you a story. I love the twists at the end. He is good at making you think you get the twist and then revealing that, but then there's like another twist that you never ever saw coming, and that is what happened in this book, and he did that very well. And the next book we finished is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I think I give it 4.5 stars. It was so close to 5 stars. I loved the story. I loved her writing. I loved the main character, the main couple, Brianna and Jacob. The whole fake dating type thing. There was just like the miscommunication where these are like 30-year-olds and they're just like not talking about it, and it's like, you're adults, like come on, just talk about it. That's what I hate in books, where it's like, it would make more sense if these were like early 20s and they just didn't want to talk about it, but these are like full adults. They just didn't talk about it for like a lot of the book. That is why I didn't get it 5 stars. But regardless, I love this book. Finally dove into Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is Ali Hazelwood's first try at, it's like a paranormal type romance. Paranormal romance, that's what it says. And it's part of the Omegaverse where there's like vampires and werewolves. I'll put my final rating here, but it was just, it was good, but there's just the nodding didn't really need to know that in any way, shape, or form for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, they went into depth. It's odd to me. I did like Misery as a character. I like Lo as a character. I feel like Lo got a little bit boring sometimes. He was very stoic and didn't seem like he had much personality. Misery, I feel like, made up for the personality. The last book that we fully finished is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and it has been on my TBR for so long, and I am so happy that I finally read it. I ripped through this book. I think I gave it like a 3.75 because there's one part in here I'm just like, why did you have to do that? It makes me mad, and I know it's a me problem, and I explained a little bit more like early in the video, so I'm not going to go into depth. I hate that in books, but regardless, I did really like getting into the story. I liked the Grishaverse. I could definitely see it being a whole universe, and I think there's like 2 spin-off series of this right now. I recommend it. It was good. The next book that we started and did not finish, we actually ended on chapter 8, page 97, Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Springs series, which I love so much, and now that it's getting warmer out, I am just ready to get back into the world of Chestnut Springs cowboy romances. I am so ready for it. Again, I'm only like 100 pages in. There's not much to say storyline wise yet because it's a pretty thick book, but I love Elsie Silver's writing, and I love this whole entire setting. The couple in here are Sloane and Jasper. Sloane is like a prima ballerina. She actually ends up being a runaway bride in the very beginning, and Jasper has been her best friend for a very long time. She's the Eaton boys' cousin. So the Eaton boys is who the main family that all the Chestnut Springs is about. Jasper is not in any way related to the Eaton boys, but he lives with them and he considers them his brothers. So it's like a little bit odd, I'm not gonna lie, because he constantly considers the Eaton boys, like he calls them their brothers, even though they're not blood related, like they're his brothers. I'm so sorry, my camera got full. Jasper, he's not blood related to the Eaton brothers, but Sloane is their blood related cousin. So Jasper constantly calls the Eaton boys his brothers, but is very clear on that Sloane is not really his cousin. The fact that he calls the Eaton boys brothers and Sloane is the cousin, and that is where the relationship is like a little bit odd to me. But I mean, they're not really related, so I don't know. Regardless, I do really like this book. Those are the 5 books that we read today in our 24-hour reading vlog. Some of them have been on my TBR for so long, so I'm happy that I read them, and this was really fun. This got me to read. I was in a little bit of a slump, but this got me to get out of it and read a lot more, and I'm very excited about it. I think my favorite one is definitely Yours Truly, so highly recommend that one. But yeah, that is gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!